Well, good morning or afternoon or whenever it is. It's like 10, maybe 10 o'clock right now. So you can tell I'm not really dressed to work right now. Yesterday was just a nightmare trying to get that Sebring going, which is what I'm talking about right now. Okay, so as you can see here, I already have the transmission back in. I mean, it's basically ready to go. But you put it in drive and it doesn't go anywhere. Now this normally when I do these tech journals, it's kind of like updates and suggestions, but this is more like a thought process here. Let's see. When I did the Toyota Camry, the white one, that one had a partially destroyed torque converter, and then it would not go into reverse. What I ended up having to do was to strip it open, and you could see that the direct drive and the reverse clutches inside and the clutch packs were fried, which is why there was no reverse. You still had drive. That's because it uses different routing through the transmission. This one here, you'd put it in drive, and it wouldn't. You could feel it not engage at all. It wouldn't engage in the gear. But when you step on the gas, you can feel it moving forward a little bit. Same in reverse, moving reverse a little bit. Which the two things that I'm thinking is either now mind you, there's not a lot of money in this that the people can afford to fix this, and the repair costs on this car is outrageously expensive. The average cost of a transmission parts to do a complete rebuild, including the book and all parts, is usually about 180. No. Yeah, about 180 to 210. The book's usually 30, so you're not looking at that much. This one here, on the other hand, is 360 for the book and the parts. Just 360. The torque converter, now that you start it, you can hear the whining inside the torque converter, which means the torque converter is probably shot now. That there is another 250. So you're easily looking at right now about $500 on this car, just for the transmission by itself. And they can't afford it. I can't afford it either. You paid $400 for it so far. I had to spend close to $120 so far in parts. The other money, I had to give that away, to Dad and some other things that were going on. Yeah, I feel bad. Maybe I should have used that just for the car, but quite honestly, I wasn't expecting this. The original issue, if you guys weren't aware, was basically turn the key on. He was going off, I don't want to say off-roading, but he was on a dirt road, and he came over the crest, and there was a rock in the middle of the road, and the car came up and slammed down on top of the rock right on the transmission, and it started leaking fluid everywhere. And you turn the key on, fully filled with transmission fluid, and it basically just pours out all over the ground within about 2 minutes. And when I pulled it out, you knew, obviously, the thing was cracked. And with no money, the only option at that point was just to get that piece, put it back in, and see if that would take care of the problem. But it didn't. And that's why I think, I don't want to say this to sound mean, but I think from here forward, I'm not going to do if I have to pull a transmission or an engine, either one, the only way I will do that from here forward is if I have the parts to do a complete rebuild on it with the book. Because this is what you run into when you don't have a book, when you don't have, and it's no fault of theirs. Cars are expensive. That's why people call them lemons, but it's only a lemon because it's expensive to repair. And you run into situations like this. Hey, I only have $80, $100, and they say, well, let's try and get it going. Then you got to take it back instead of fixing it right properly. See, if you fix this thing right with $500, the engine doesn't sound half bad. This thing would easily go another 100,000 miles, lasting 5-6 years easy. There was a knowledge of transmission fluid that, that you can't really mix it, wasn't really apparent. Didn't really understand that. That you can't mix the different types of transmission fluid, and not knowing what was put in there when it was draining and trying to fill it up and fix the leak. Putting the wrong transmission fluid in there will destroy the transmission. This is a good example. I'm not saying that's what caused it. We're dealing with this because it hit the rock. Um, I know what I can do, but it can be fixed. Like I said, it can be fixed, definitely be fixed. Problem is the investment, if there was somebody that was willing to buy this for, let's say, $1,500 or $1,000, $500 for parts, it'd be a brand new car. It'd be nice for somebody. But money just doesn't grow on trees, right? So yeah, that's kind of where we're at on this. There's nothing I can do today. Actually, there's probably absolutely nothing I can do this week aside from pulling the transmission back out and breaking it completely apart. I can do that without the book, as long as they keep the parts in order. It's the reassembly where you really need the manual. There are procedures that you need to have when you take it apart. Mainly it's for checking the tolerances. As long as you get in there with your feeler gauges and measure the clutch packs, write those numbers down, double check your clearances, and have all those written down when you take it apart. It'll definitely help even without a book when you go for the reinstall. So that's about the only thing I can do, but I need to clear a spot in the garage because the garage project's supposed to start this week. I'm hopefully going to get gravel here tomorrow or maybe even Thursday. Folks are coming on Saturday, plus people from the church, so it's going to be busy. But yeah, so I guess I just wanted to... Wow, okay. I just wanted to give an update here to let everybody know what's going on. And, if there's anybody out there that is feeling need, this is the gentleman who needs to go to Portland for doctors and visits that are up there. And right now, they don't have a place to stay. And I mean, my heart goes out to him. But, there's only so much I can do. Part of me wants to say, well, maybe you should go find maybe a part-time job so I can be able to pay for stuff like this for people, but then I would take away from my other time of actually helping people in need. And I've been provided for just fine the past couple of years, and it's been great. So anyway, that's where I'm at on this. And if anybody has any suggestions, or even if I can find, this is a 2001 Sebring, even a junkyard that has a transmission that doesn't work would be better than this one, because at least you get the torque converter with it. And then I could possibly just throw that thing in there and maybe just make it so, okay, it's only $200 for a used tranny, right? But then you're running into the problem where who's to say the transmission will even work? That's why I don't like using used parts, because you go down and buy, like Vincent Valve, for example. They lucked out. They paid mailman. They paid I think it was like $500 for their engine. It was used, but it's been running great. They lucked out. They lucked out really good. Sometimes you buy it and there's issues with it you don't know. So if anything, just pray the Lord comes through. I'm powerless here. It's hard for man to admit that, I guess, but it is what it is. I can't create the universe, which also means I can't create money out of thin air. And it sounds bad, and I'm not trying to be selfish. It's not about me. So anyway, that's kind of it.